During the past year, these competitors have prevailed in the face of stiff competition to earn gold medals in regional events across America. They carry with them now the pride of their families and hometowns as they converge on Los Angeles for the premier competitive aerobic event in the United States. Countless hours of preparation come down to these final few minutes in the hopes of becoming a Reebok National Aerobic Champion.
75 regional finalists from right across the United States have traveled here to Los Angeles to give it their best. Only 7 are destined to take home the gold.
From Universal Studios in Hollywood, it's the 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championship. Brought to you by Reebok. Life is short. Play hard.
Welcome to the 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championship. I'm Brian Drever, and it's a pleasure once again to be working with our expert color analyst, Charlene Prickett.
Brian, tonight we'll see 4 events: mixed pairs, women's individual, men's individual, and team competitions. All competitors will be scored in both skill and presentation categories as detailed in the rules and guidelines sanctioned by the United States Competitive Aerobics Federation. So out of a possible perfect score of 300 points, 180 points are given for skill and 120 points for presentation. The Reebok National Aerobic Championship is proud to be endorsed by the IDEA, the Association for Fitness Professionals.
The first of 4 events we'll see tonight is the mixed pairs competition. Qualifying rounds were held earlier this week to determine the top 3 scorers.
The top 3 mixed pairs are Terry Reeves and Dale Duncan, Kim Terry and Tim Roberts, and Renee Revecchio and Paul Batista.
Our first competitors in the mixed team competition this year are Dale Duncan and Terry Reeves.
And our first team is from Greensboro, North Carolina, representing Fitness Today, Terry Reeves and Dale Duncan.
All right, strength points right off the bat in a straddle press. One arm push-ups, and well done.
These two have been so strong all week long.
Here's their most worrisome move, this double-decker overload straddle press, and they're relieved that that's done well. They worked for months to get that perfect beautiful hitch kick. A one-leg balance, and it's solid. Although she comes out of it just a tad before he does. Remember, the judges are looking for synchronization.
difficult to be the first ones on the floor in the competition.
Yeah, I think they have to take a deep breath. Now, these push-ups are very difficult. Not only are their arms on horizontal, but they move between each push. A split and a switch split. Oh, and they land it. You know, that partner lift at the very end has to be surprising and it has to be well executed.
Let's go to the judges for the scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, the scores for Terry Reeves and Dale Duncan. Remember that a perfect score is 300. Skill, 144.5. Presentation, 98. Their total score is 242.5.
Kim Terry is an aerobics instructor and Tim Roberts a professional dancer. They earned a silver medal last year as a team and like our first pair have come back in a different category.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next competitors are from the West End Executive Fitness Center in Washington, D.C. Here is Kim Terry and Tim Roberts.
Beautiful hitch kick and splits. And another, leap. Flexibility all over the place. These folks have got great flexibility and the strength to back up with control. Now see how they keep their arms down and still when they do their compulsory high kicks, it's much harder that way and they can pull it off. This balance lift is ever so critical because she moves in and transitions into another lift in the air. And they're very worried about that. Once they have that one completed as well as they did there, they'll feel relieved. Good slow push-ups with horizontal arm placements. Slower is harder and horizontal arms are harder. So they're pulling in points here on skill. A little toe hinge to get up, a little accent. A forward free fall. One arm push-ups. Always watch the woman. They're harder for women as we tend to be less strength in upper body. Oh, from an A-frame into a straddle press. They do it well.
No lack of strength there.
No, and balance also is very critical. And actually, strength gives the control to get balance. A good needle point with that leg shooting straight up.
Nice transition back to the standing
Their
position.
transitions are so well done. And look at the interesting arm work. Here's their partner lift at the end. Well done. You know, the double-decker press that they do is so hard. They know it, and the judges know it.
Well, we're going to have to see how close to perfect it is. We'll go to the judges for the scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the scores for Kim Terry and Tim Roberts from Washington, D.C. Skill, 133.5. Presentation, 105.5. Their total is 239.
Paul Batista and Renee Revecchio are an experienced pair and the third finalist in this category from the East Coast.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mixed pair representing Molly Fox Fitness in New York City. Here is Renee Revecchio and Paul Batista.
A straddle jump, that's what it ought to look like.
These two are so evenly matched in body size and performance ability. They've really been impressive.
You're absolutely right. compulsory push-ups done.
Little dance movement here. We've seen a lot of that this year, a little ballroom dancing.
Yeah, it gets creativity points on presentation. The high leg kicks in this competition will be letter perfect. There's a split lift, well done. Now they have a couple of moves that are very difficult and really pull in skill points. Oh, there's a nice straddle jump. There's one, a leg balance, a second leg balance, and 3 in a row.
And perfect.
And perfect. Now, see the little hand switch on those push-ups? And a spring right off the floor, really pulling in skill points. The compulsory abs are well done. You want to see the middle back come off the floor. The shoulders lift and then just a little bit of the middle back. Now she rolls into this lift blind and transitions into a pike press, which was almost a little rushed there. Beautiful hitch kick. The competitors are calm and controlled tonight. Here we go, the partner lift at the, perfect, perfect.
Very dramatic.
Well done. The move they have really worked on and are really proud of is that aerial lift. You know, she rolls into that backwards.
3 up and 3 down. Let's go to the scores for our final pair.
Ladies and gentlemen, the scores for Renee Revecchio and Paul Batista. Skill, 150.5. Presentation, 99. Their total score is 249. The gold medal to Renee Revecchio and Paul Batista. Silver medal to Terry Reeves and Dale Duncan. And the bronze goes to Kim Terry and Tim Roberts. Congratulations.
Now, don't go away. When we return, we'll talk with the new mixed pair champions.
When I finally won after years of trying, it was like, wow, what a relief. You know?
I was numb. I couldn't feel anything.
Coming up, the finals in the individual women's competition.
The new mixed pair champions, Renee Revecchio and Paul Batista. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Renee, you said to me before the competition that you were afraid of being nervous, but you looked so calm.
We were very calm. We both calmed each other down before we went on.
Did anything go wrong?
Actually, I don't think so. We were out there having a great time. The crowd was wonderful, and we just did our best job.
It looked letter perfect.
Thank you.
And that blind roll, my goodness, that's 100% into that lift now.
Thank God he's there when he's supposed to be.
You name it. What are we calling that signature move?
Paul and Renee's signature move.
Keep it simple.
Well, congratulations, guys. You sure worked for this one.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Only 2 trips to the big show, and the second time around, a gold medal. It's got to be a great feeling. Now, coming up next on the Reebok National Aerobic Championships, the women's individual event. Now, let's see some of the action that took place at the preliminaries.
The top 3 women advancing to the finals are Nancy Popp, Diane Nanfelt, and Patrice Martin-Bethke.
Nancy Popp has been competing in the tough Northeast region, which she has never won. She had to go to the National Open to qualify. She's made her first trip to the National Championships and moved right to the head of the class.
Our first competitor represents the kamikaze choreography in Hop Hog, New York. She is Nancy Pop.
She is getting points right now before the music starts in her plunge.
I said earlier this week that watching her reminded me of last year's women's champion, Mindy.
She's very strong. She has Mindy's strength. She's done innumerable hanging leg lifts and abdominal exercises to get the strength to do the many strength presses you'll see. Splits on both sides and raising up a split lift. She raises up to her knees.
An incredibly strong
Now watch. She holds a press, and anytime you move within that press and do it well as she does, extra points. Bringing the feet up on those push-ups adds difficulty. See how high, a twirl, and her feet are well above the floor with no instability.
And she acts like it's a stroll in the park.
She's really gotten firm and stable on all these strength poses and balance poses. That is her biggest worry. It's a pike shoot through, and she's always afraid that her feet will drop down and touch the floor, but they didn't. It was perfect.
Now she stayed on the floor. She's going to get up now and show us that she's not only strong, but light on her feet.
Just interesting moves using her torso, creative choreography, great straddle jump. Hitch kicks, all of these hitch kicks are beautiful. Wonderful flexibility. There's a pike jump, might have been higher. Now here, ending with a plunge, slightly different than the opening. She really has the flexibility to pull these moves off.
Let's go to the judges' scores and see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the scores for Nancy Pop. Skill, 152. Presentation, 107.5. Her total, 259.5.
That's going to be a tough score to beat, but we've got someone who can just do that coming right up. Now, Boston has the Red Sox, the Celtics, the Bruins, and Northeast Regional Champion Diane Nanfelt.
Ladies and gentlemen, our second women's competitor is from Boston, Massachusetts, and she represents Fitcorp Health and Fitness Center. She is Diane Nanfelt.
She's very gutsy. She assumes this one-leg balance well before the music starts, so she's gleaning points even before the thing really gets ripping. This routine is very busy, so the judges have to look very closely. And so do we to find her compulsories and her best moves. Okay. Rotation push-ups. Anytime you can use a movement in another part of the body or add legs or do something interesting with the arms, the rotation is particularly hard. Glean extra skill points.
Rock solid on those strength moves.
Yes. Her presses are firm. Look at the height on those kicks. All right. Now push-ups coming well off the floor with the middle back.
She's approached this year's competition with a real business-like attitude.
Although she also approaches it with a hip flexor problem, which has just come up in the last day or two. Now, this press has her worried. In fact, that's a change from what we saw in the preliminaries, and she pulled it off well. Her one-arm push-ups are firm. She gets very low to the floor, even on one arm. Whoa, look at that split leap. She'll be pleased. The there was a pike jump in there that lacked height, it seemed to me. But her split leaps were fine.
We'll go to the judges for the scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, the scores for Diane Nanfeld. Skill, 135.5. Presentation, 97.5. Her total score, 233.
Patrice Martin Bethke has been to the big show 5 times now. She comes from Park City, Utah.
And now our final women's competitor. Representing Body Tech in Salt Lake City, Utah, from Park City, Utah, here is Patrice Martin Bethke.
Now she assumes this scale like so many of the competitors before the music starts. And her scale is perfect, as is her one-leg balance.
Little hop, though.
When they do a scale, we want the trunk vertical. And when they do a one-leg balance or a nice big kick, the legs should be almost vertical. Oh, what beautiful splits.
Her presentation gives her very high marks every time.
Yes,
she really works the audience and the judges.
She's quite dynamic. Look at those kicks.
And she's been on a roll from the preliminaries to the semis. She took it up a notch, and this is where she needs to take it up
Now,
another.
let's see if she gets right down there. Her head is down, but is her chest down? Oh, yes, her chest is down. And look, she moves between each press, also managing to place the arms horizontally for extra strength points. An A-frame down into the Winson hold, which she uses as a press. Oops, her bum just touched down. Now that'll just be a few points off. That was not a perfect hold.
She's got to go all out to beat Nancy Pop, though. Everything.
Yeah.
No holds barred.
On the straddle jump that she just did, her legs were a little bent when she landed, and they weren't quite under her. These are very minute points, but they all count in a competition at this level. Look at this little interesting hand choreography here, and her feet. Now, she gets presentation points for creativity for that good choreography. A free fall into one push-up. Well done. I think her downfall will be that strength press, where she wasn't unstable so much as she lost height.
She seemed a little tentative. Let's go to the judges' scores and see what happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have scores for Patrice Martin Bethke from Salt Lake. Skill, 129. Presentation, 99.5. Her total score, 228.5. The gold medal goes to Nancy Pop. Nancy Pop. The silver medal winner is Diane Nanfeld. And the bronze goes to Patrice Martin Bethke. Congratulations.
A dominating performance by Nancy Pop. Now the finals of the 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championship will be right back with an interview with the 1992 Women's Individual Champion and the Men's Individual event. Stay with us.
It took me 7 years to get there and 2 children, and I have one on the way, and I wanted to show women that it's okay to do everything that you want to do and reach your goals, and that's been great.
Coming up, the finals in the individual men's competition.
The women's individual gold medal is on the neck of Nancy Pop. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I know you worry about that pike shoot through. How did it feel to you?
Well, I got it up, but I did feel a little shaky because of my nerves. I was very nervous because this competition was very stiff. But when I piked through, I felt my hands slip a little bit, but otherwise, I felt pretty good out there.
You know, I couldn't see that with my eyes, and those feet stayed right up there.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Great champions like that aren't made overnight. Now, to further the development of the sport of competitive aerobics, Champ Camp was established to help build the next generation of aerobics athletes.
Steps next! Huh!
Counselors are all former national and world champions. In 3 days of seminars and workshops, the staff shares the latest information on training, judging criteria, choreography, and other topics.
what Champ Camp does, then it gives the opportunity to someone who's in the aerobics industry the chance to develop and to grow.
The athletes get more knowledge, and they're really learning from the very best.
As competitive aerobics becomes a widely accepted sport, Olympic competition is being seriously considered.
Competitive aerobics, with its popularity, will have an easier time of being adopted by the IOC.
The Champ Camp concept is now being extended to regional club training facilities as part of the USCAF. In the end, Champ Camp is not only a tremendous resource for the competitive aerobic community, but a high-spirited event that will likely deliver our next wave of aerobic champions. Stay with us. The Reebok National Aerobic Championship will return in a moment with the men's individual event. Welcome back, everybody. Now let's take a look at the preliminaries in the men's individual event.
Advancing to the finals are James Everett Johnson, Tony Young, and Ernest Perez.
Now, first up is James Everett Johnson, JJ to his friends. He's been around for about 6 years now, but never better than this time.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the competition continues. Our men's individual competitors, and first of all, representing Energy International in San Francisco, this is James Everett Johnson.
Look, he starts again before the music in a modified plunge to get points before he even moves. This man is an actor and singer and puts a dynamic presence on stage. His straddle jumps and his pike jumps are beautifully high because he has the strength. Look at these push-ups, pulling his arms right off the floor.
Great creativity there, too. You'd expect that from a performer.
That's right. And he has this brute, raw strength to back it up. There's a little balance combination that's well done. Did you notice in the scale, his trunk was horizontal, parallel to the floor? That's what the judges want to see. Interesting arm movements here as he goes through some aerobic moves. That's an illusion right down into a good split. Now, if JJ has a weakness, it is certainly not strength here. His push-ups are beautiful. It would be flexibility. There are some muscle groups that are a bit tight. Look at his spring! Right up from a push-up into a full-body spring off the floor. That's major skill points. His abdominal routine is slow because he has the power to propel far off the floor and slow so the judges can see it. My favorite thing about his routine are those push-ups where he just springs off the floor. I mean, the upper body strength required to do that is quite incredible.
Well, certainly the men are very, very strong, and our first man has set a mark that's going to be tough to beat as well. Let's go to the judges for the scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the scores for James Everett Johnson from San Francisco. Skill, 144.5. Presentation, 108. We have a 5-point deduction for a foot fault. His total score, 247.5.
Even with a deduction for a foot fault that I thought I saw, Charlene, he's put up a tough mark to beat. And next man up, however, could be one to do just that. Tony Young traveled east to get to the left coast. He came from Honolulu, Hawaii, and brought a winning attitude with him.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our competitor in the men's individual competition. He is from Honolulu, and he represents the Cardio Club and the Honolulu Club. Tony Young.
He starts in a suspended push-up, like so many competitors, to get points before the music, and then goes into that straddle press. Look at the height on his straddle jumps. A free fall right down into beautiful floor work. This is Mr. Flexibility. If JJ is Mr. Strength, this is Mr. Flexibility. You see, on that press, he has the strength to control it. He doesn't have the brute strength of JJ, but he has good strength for control. Oh my goodness, those kicks. Highest kicks in the competition.
Tony's a veteran performer,
Look at that free fall.
You're off to come back, Charlene.
Just falls right down onto the floor to initiate his push-ups. Again, slow abdominal exercises because he has the strength to control it. Oh, now look, this is a whole balance combination, but he's a little less stable tonight than in the preliminaries. He has stuck that before as solid as a rock, and there were a few quivers there, minor point deductions. That's a modified flange, and his body was not horizontal, although it was stable. He never intended it to be horizontal. That's his modification. Bam, and he sticks that in pose. You know, it's really a war with JJ and his strength and Tony and his flexibility.
It'll be interesting to see how the judges react to two contrasting styles. Let's go to the scores.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have the scores for Tony Young from Hawaii. Skill, 150. Presentation, 97. His total score, 247.
Well, the stage has been set for our final competitor in the men's individual event. He's Ernst Perez from Houston, Texas. Now, he went from 8th a year ago to the top 3 this year. He's worked very hard to get here like everybody else. But the difference just might be the lucky penny that he found at breakfast this morning and put in his shoe. He's wearing it right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing Bally's president and first lady from Houston, Texas, Ernest Perez.
To show strength and flexibility. And a free fall into a perfect split. Now here's a flange, but it's not quite horizontal. So it's not that he'll be cut down for it, he just won't get the kind of points you would get if it was totally horizontal.
He's got a big contingent of family and friends here from Houston, including his mother.
Look at those high kicks! Man, does he get height! And that hitch kick. His choreography is not as packed with moves as some of the competitors, and that may lose a few points, or more appropriately, not gain as many points. Whoa, isn't that interesting? That little aerial twist, and that's good creativity points.
this time around he's done it all himself.
He was a little slow in getting those feet up into that pike press. And you see his abdominals are faster. Now that stork, he does very well. He raises from the floor into a single leg hold. Lacks a little bit of pizzazz and choreography, and maybe lacks just a little bit of control as compared to the other competitors. Probably not as much brute strength, but what I love are those kicks.
He's made tremendous progress in a short career at the national championships. Let's see how the judges score Ernest Perez.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, we have the scores and the results in the men's individual competition. For Ernest Perez, in skill, 134. Presentation, 90. His total score is 224. And the winner of the gold by a .5 difference, James Everett Johnson. The silver medal to Tony Young. And the bronze to Ernest Perez. Congratulations.
Stay tuned when we come back. An interview with the 1992 men's individual champion and the final event of the 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championships, the always exciting team competition.
The gold medal was such a great feeling to have it placed around my neck, knowing that I was the best in the country at that moment.
Coming up, the finals in the team competition.
The new individual men's champion, James Everett Johnson. Did you know that you were making a footfall crossing over that back line?
Well, Charlene, my coach Deborah Casey and I, we made a change, and I was a little disorientated by the lighting. So therefore, I think there was a slight footfall.
Well, I didn't see it, but it was there.
Well, I knew something was going on. There was so much excitement happening here.
You persevered for 6 years.
Oh, God, it takes a lot of focusing, and 6 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
As we take a look at the team preliminaries, bear in mind that these three-person teams can be comprised of any combination of male and female competitors.
The teams advancing to the finals are Diane Terezi, Jordana Vella, and Dan Sapp, Carolyn Wizarek, Linda Johnson, and Rita Nelson, Frank Laberdesque, Orlando Garcia, and Giselle Roque de Escobar.
Our first team are all veterans, but they're making their debut in the national championships together. Jordana Vella, Dan Sapp, and Diane Terezi.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the final competition of the evening. It is the team competition. And our first competitors from Fremont, Sacramento, and Huntington Beach, California. Representing the Fitness Center in Fair Oaks, California, Diane Terezi, Jordana Vella, and Dan Sapp.
We are already seeing a difference in preliminaries. They all struck a one-leg balance off the top, and this starting pose was much easier and less risky. Look at this overload on the one-arm push-ups, and they still get the chest right down to the floor.
Dan's got an injured wrist that he's been fighting for the last 6 weeks or so, but it's never showed in competition.
All of these competitors are doing well with the disabilities they may bring with them. Oh, a nice leap and well synchronized. Remember, in the teams, the judges look for synchronization not only in moves, but in strength levels and flexibility. Look at these splits, all three perfect.
It'd be easy to say that sentiment will play a part in judging for these teams because of Diane Terezi, but they have simply been wonderful throughout the preliminaries.
I love this little piece of business with the hands. We call that a backhand clap, and it's creativity, so presentation points. You know, Diane Terezi over the years has collected a total of 15 medals out of this competition at various levels.
But never a gold.
Never a gold. These are extremely hard push-ups. When they come forward, the leverage is harder, and then they do this little punctuation with the head twist. So they're really racking in the skill points, the strength points on those push-ups.
So Dan on the left, Dan in the middle, and Diane Teresi on the right.
Lovely hitch kick and a roll to a press. Now, this is a controversial move. I'm not sure whether that will pull them down a little bit, because you don't want to see someone pressing someone else's stretch like that. And they do stick firmly that partner lift at the end.
They are real veterans. Let's see how the judges have scored them.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the scores for our team from Fair Oaks, California. Remember, the possible total is 300 points for a perfect score. In skill, 148. Presentation, 91.5. Their total score, 239.5.
Carolyn Wieserek and Linda Johnson are first-grade teachers, and Rita Nelson is an aerobics instructor. They're from Iowa. They're our next team. And not only are they here, but the head count in Dubuque is down by about 24 family members who have come here in support.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our second team competitors from Dubuque, Iowa. They represent Power Play Fitness Incorporated. Here is Carolyn Wieserek, Linda Johnson, and Rita Nelson.
Synchronized team with an incredibly interesting use of heel-offs. You see how one begins and then the second and then the third comes along. So they get good presentation points for that choreography.
And they aren't triplets, even though they look like it.
They're not only well matched as their skill level, but their body types and even their haircuts.
They've been real unknowns. They're making their debut here. The other competitors didn't really know what to expect from them, and they have surprised a lot of folks.
Yes, they're highly respected. Okay, an inverted A right into a press, and right into these abdominal exercises, which are their compulsories. See how high they get off the floor on those abs. A free fall to fingertip push-ups. That's not easy for anyone, and it is particularly difficult for females who tend to have less muscle mass in the upper body. They did it beautifully. Oh, height.
The Rockettes.
Height. And you know, it's very important in teams that the leg height be synchronized, and these women are almost perfect almost all the time. There's a quick scale, a balance scale. I think they don't hold it long enough. Now this is the Joan Whitson push-up with overload. And again, that nice use of peel-off. I think that is their signature.
I like their signature series of push-ups in the middle of that routine. Let's see how the judges liked it.
And here are the scores for our team from Dubuque, Iowa. Skill, 134. Presentation, 94. Their total score is 228.
I'm surprised at the differential in those scores, given the perfect synchronization of this last team.
But our veteran team is still in the lead. Now, the two men on this team are also veterans, but their former partner is now their coach. Frank Leberdesk and Orlando Garcia pulled Giselle Roque de Escobar out of the pool. She's a former synchronized swimmer, and they kept right on going.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, our final team of competitors for the evening. This team is from Miami, Florida. Frank Leberdesk, Orlando Garcia, and Giselle Roque de Escobar.
Perfect splits on all three. And a one-arm, one-leg push-up.
These three from Miami have been hot, hot, hot.
They come to us under some disadvantage. Giselle had eye surgery recently, got rust in her eye. Frank's grandmother died. Both the guys pulled hamstrings, and they lost their sponsors just before this competition. Interesting. using arm work choreography during their aerobic moves. You see how still they keep their hands during those compulsory high kicks? That makes it harder, so we get more skill points.
They're looking good, and overcoming adversity is what champions are all about.
Now, this is their signature, the caterpillar roll and a peel off. They're very proud of that caterpillar roll. They took months to perfect that. Oh, good straddle press. Everybody's firm and stable. Push-ups, you see how they have their hands horizontally planted to make it more difficult. Now, this comes from their 1990 team. They originated this overload push-up. This is where they really have to focus. This press. Oh, better than in preliminaries. Very secure this time.
Nicely done.
Now that that's over, they're more relieved. Well done. Well, their signature, the caterpillar roll with that clever peel off of choreography, is a real crowd pleaser.
Very creative performance by these three from Miami. Let's go to the judges for the scores.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have the scores for our team from Miami. Skill, 143. Presentation, 104.5. Total score is 247.5, and the gold medal winners from Miami, Orlando Garcia, Giselle Roque de Escobar, and Frank Lavernest.
The 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championship will return in a moment.
It just proves to me and other people out there that if you set your dream and go for it, that it's bound to happen.
The new Team Reebok National Aerobic Champions. You men came back this year with a new partner and had the confidence to choose a woman who 9 months ago could not do one single proper push-up.
Yeah, but I worked hard and here I am.
I think that's your synchronized swimming perseverance.
Definitely, it really helped me.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And hard work pays off.
Hard work doesn't pay off.
To be part of the sport of competitive aerobics, please call the USCAF at 1-800-NOW-JUMP.
You know, Charlene, this has been a truly memorable championship, and I've noticed a certain special camaraderie among the competitors this year.
Absolutely, Brian, and I'd say that the level of athleticism and creativity has also grown. All of these competitors in this year's event should really feel like they're going home winners.
Until later this year, when the World Aerobic Championships will convene, for Charlene Prickett, this is Brian Drever saying goodbye for now from the 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championship.
The 1992 Reebok National Aerobic Championship has been brought to you by Reebok. Life is short. Play hard. Travel arranged through Continental, taking off this spring to 11 sun and fun-filled Florida cities. Continental to Florida. One airline can make a difference.